When my partner confessed what had really been happening behind my back, I said nothing and let her finish. That silence made her uncomfortable, and what I did next quietly changed the direction of both our lives. I need to tell you something, and I need you to just listen until I'm done. She was standing in our kitchen doorway, hands shaking, eyes red from crying she'd apparently been doing before I got home. I set my keys down on the counter and said nothing, just looked at her. The silence stretched between us like a wire pulled too tight. Hey viewers, before we move on to the video, please make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button if you want to see more stories like this. I'm 31. She's 29. We've been together for 6 years, living together for 4. I've been talking to someone, she said, her voice cracking on the word someone like it physically hurt to say it. I stayed quiet. My face didn't change. It started as just messages, she continued, looking down at her feet. Online, in a group chat for work stuff. Then it became private messages. Then more. Still, I said nothing. I pulled out a chair from the kitchen table and sat down, folded my hands in my lap, waited. Her eyes darted to my face, searching for something. Anger maybe. Tears. Yelling. But I gave her nothing. His name is David, she said, and I noticed she was wringing her hands now, twisting her fingers together like she was trying to squeeze something out of them. We haven't done anything physical. I swear to you. But we've talked every day for 3 months. 3 months. I let that number sit in the air between us. I told him things I should have told you, she whispered. About how lonely I've been. About how we barely talk anymore. About how I feel like we're just roommates. My jaw tightened, but I still didn't speak. She was crying harder now, mascara running down her cheeks in dark streams. He makes me laugh, she said, and there was something almost defiant in her voice now. He asked me about my day. He remembers little things I tell him. Keep going, I said quietly. Those were the first words I'd spoken since she started. She flinched like I'd slapped her. What? You said you needed me to listen until you were done, I said, my voice level and calm. So finish. Her mouth opened and closed. I don't know what else to say. Yes, you do, I said. You practiced this. You've been thinking about this conversation for days, maybe weeks. So say whatever else you came here to say. She wrapped her arms around herself. I don't want to lose you, she whispered. Then why are you telling me this? The question hung in the air like smoke. She looked up at me, confused. Because I felt guilty, she said. Because it's been eating me alive. Because I love you and I thought. You thought confession would make you feel better. I finished for her. She didn't respond. Did it? I asked. Did it what? Make you feel better? Her face crumpled. No, she sobbed. No, it made everything worse. The look on your face right now, the way you're just sitting there like a stranger, I'm giving you what you asked for, I said calmly. You asked me to listen, so I'm listening. I stood up from the chair, walked past her to the living room, sat down on the couch we'd picked out together 3 years ago after spending an entire Saturday at 4 different furniture stores. She followed me, hovering in the doorway like she was afraid to come closer. Please say something, she begged. Yell at me. Tell me I'm horrible. Tell me you hate me. Something. I looked at her for a long moment. Really looked at her. The woman I'd planned a future with. The woman whose family I'd spent every Christmas with for 6 years. The woman who knew I liked my coffee with exactly 2 sugars and always pretended to steal sips of it in the morning just to make me smile. When did you stop loving me? I asked. The question clearly caught her off guard. I didn't, she said quickly. I never stopped. That's not what this is. Then what is it? She sank down onto the armchair across from me, pulling her knees up to her chest like a child. I don't know, she whispered. I don't know when it started or why. We just drifted. You got so focused on your promotion at work. I was dealing with my mom's health issues. We stopped having dinner together. We stopped talking about anything that mattered. We just existed in the same space. I nodded slowly. And instead of telling me that, I said, you found someone else to fill the gap. It wasn't like that, she protested weakly. What was it like then? She didn't have an answer. The silence stretched again. I could hear the refrigerator humming in the kitchen, a car driving past outside, the sound of her breathing, ragged and uneven. What happens now? She finally asked. I stood up, walked to our bedroom. She followed me, panic rising in her voice. What are you doing? I pulled my overnight bag from the closet, started packing a few days' worth of clothes. I'm going to stay at my brother's place for a while, I said calmly. No, she said, moving to block the closet door. No, please. We need to talk about this. We need to figure this out. We will, I said. But not tonight. When I zipped up the bag. I don't know, I said honestly. But right now, I need space to think, and you need to figure out what you actually want. I want you, she said desperately. I want us. Do you? I asked, meeting her eyes. Because 3 months is a long time to talk to someone every day. 3 months is a long time to build something with another person while your relationship falls apart. So I need you to really think about what you want. Not what you think you should want. Not what will make you feel less guilty. What you actually want. Her face went pale. You're leaving me. I'm giving us both time to think, I corrected. There's a difference. I picked up my bag and walked to the front door. She followed me, tears streaming down her face. I'm so sorry, she sobbed. I'm so sorry. I paused with my hand on the doorknob. I know you are, I said quietly. But sorry doesn't undo 3 months of emotional intimacy with someone else. Sorry doesn't undo the fact that you chose to confide in him instead of me. Sorry doesn't fix what's broken between us. Can it be fixed? She whispered. I looked back at her one more time. I don't know, I said. Maybe. But that depends on whether we're both willing to be honest about why we let it break in the first place. I walked out the door and closed it softly behind me. The drive to my brother's apartment took 20 minutes. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I didn't call anyone. I just drove in silence, my mind replaying the conversation over and over. My brother, Tyler, opened the door in sweatpants and a stained t-shirt. Hey, man, what's... He stopped when he saw my face. What happened? Can I crash here for a few days? I asked. Of course, he said immediately, stepping aside. Always. I dropped my bag on his couch and sat down. Tyler grabbed 2 beers from the fridge and handed me one without asking if I wanted it. You want to talk about it? He asked. Not yet, I said. He nodded and turned on the TV. We sat in silence, watching some late-night rerun of a show neither of us cared about. Around midnight, he went to bed. I stayed on the couch, staring at the ceiling. My phone buzzed every 15 minutes. Text after text from her. I'm sorry. Please come home. We can work through this. I love you. I didn't respond to any of them. At 2 in the morning, I finally turned off my phone and closed my eyes. Sleep didn't come easy. The next morning, I woke up to Tyler making breakfast. Figured you could use some actual food, he said, sliding a plate of eggs and toast across the counter. I ate mechanically, tasting nothing. So, Tyler said carefully, are you going to tell me what happened, or do I have to guess? I set down my fork, told him everything. He listened without interrupting, which was unusual for him. When I finished, he let out a long breath. That's heavy, man, he said finally. Yeah. What are you going to do? I don't know, I admitted. Part of me wants to go back and try to fix it. Part of me thinks it's already over, and I'm just delaying the inevitable. Tyler took a sip of his coffee. Can I give you some advice you didn't ask for? Sure. Don't make any big decisions while you're still in shock, he said. Give yourself a week. Maybe 2. Let your head clear. Then figure out what you actually want, not what you think you should want. I almost laughed. That's exactly what I told her. Well, Tyler said with a small smile, great minds think alike. I spent the next 3 days in a fog. I went to work and went through the motions. Answered emails. Attended meetings. Pretended everything was fine. My coworkers didn't notice anything different. Or if they did, they had the decency not to say anything. On the 4th day, I finally turned my phone back on. 47 missed messages. 12 voicemails. Most were from her. A few were from mutual friends who had apparently heard something was wrong. I deleted the voicemails without listening to them. Read through the messages one by one. They started desperate and apologetic. Then angry. Then sad. Then resigned. The most recent one, sent just an hour ago, simply said, I understand if you need more time. I'll be here when you're ready to talk. I set the phone down. Tyler was right. I needed more time. But I also needed information. That evening, I did something I'm not proud of. I opened my laptop and looked up David's profile on the professional networking site where they'd apparently met. It took me less than 5 minutes to find him. David Chun, marketing consultant. Lives 2 states away. Married. That last detail hit me like a punch to the gut. He was married. She'd been emotionally investing in a married man. Did his wife know? Did he tell his wife the same things she was telling him? I closed the laptop, feeling sick. The next day, I texted her for the first time since I'd left. We need to talk. Are you free Saturday afternoon? Her response came within seconds. Yes. Anything. When and where? The coffee shop on Maple Street. 2 p.m. I'll be there. Saturday arrived faster than I wanted it to. I got to the coffee shop 15 minutes early and claimed a table in the back corner. She arrived exactly on time, looking thinner than she had 4 days ago. Dark circles under her eyes, hair pulled back in a messy ponytail. She slid into the chair across from me, hands folded on the table. "Thank you for meeting me," she said quietly. I nodded, took a sip of my coffee to buy myself a few more seconds. "I need to ask you some questions," I said finally. "And I need you to be completely honest with me. Can you do that?" "Yes," she said immediately. "Did you sleep with him?" "No," she said, meeting my eyes. "I swear to you, nothing physical happened. We've never even met in person." I believed her. I don't know why, but I did. "Did you know he's married?" I asked. Her face went pale. "What?" "David Chun," I said. "Marketing consultant. Lives in Colorado. Married to someone named Rebecca. 2 kids." She looked like she might be sick. "I didn't know," she whispered. "He never mentioned a wife. He never mentioned kids." "That makes it worse," I said quietly. "I know," she said, tears starting to fall. "God, I know. What have I done?" I sat back in my chair. "That's the question, isn't it?" I said. "What have you done? Because from where I'm sitting, you've spent 3 months building an emotional relationship with someone who was lying to you the entire time. Someone who was using you for attention while he had a whole family at home." She put her face in her hands. "I'm such an idiot," she sobbed. "Maybe," I said. "But that's not the real problem." She looked up at me, confused. "What do you mean?" "The problem isn't David," I said. "The problem is that you were looking for David in the first place. The problem is that something in our relationship was so broken that you needed to find emotional intimacy somewhere else." She nodded slowly, wiping her eyes with a napkin. "You were right," she said, "about what you said before you left. We let it break. Both of us. So the question is," I said, "can we fix it? Do we want to fix it?" "I do," she said quickly. "I want to try. I want us to go to counseling, to really work on this, too." "That's not what I asked," I interrupted gently. "I asked if you want to fix it. Not if you want to try. Not if you think we should. Do you actually want this relationship?" She opened her mouth, closed it, opened it again. "I don't know," she finally admitted, her voice barely above a whisper. "And that's the truth. I love you. I do. But I don't know if love is enough anymore. I don't know if we're good for each other. I don't know if we bring out the best in each other or if we've just been going through the motions for so long that we forgot what it feels like to actually be happy together." I felt something release in my chest. Relief, maybe. Or grief. Or both. "Thank you," I said. She looked startled. "For what?" "For being honest," I said. Finally, we sat in silence for a moment. The coffee shop buzzed with conversation around us. People laughing. People working on laptops. People living their normal Saturday afternoons while ours fell apart. "I think we should end this," I said quietly. Her breath caught. "Are you sure?" "No," I admitted. "But I think it's the right thing to do. We've been avoiding this conversation for months, maybe years. We've been coasting. And coasting isn't the same as moving forward together." "I don't want to lose you," she said. But there was less conviction in her voice now. More acceptance. "I don't want to lose you either," I said. "But I think we already did. Somewhere along the way, we lost each other. And I don't think we can find our way back." She nodded slowly, tears streaming down her face. "What happens now?" she asked. "I'll find my own place," I said. "You can keep the apartment. I'll come by next week to get my stuff when you're at work, if that's easier." "Okay," she whispered. "And I think we should both block David," I said. "Actually, I think you should send a message to his wife." Her eyes widened. "What?" "She deserves to know," I said. "If he did this with you, he's probably done it with others. She deserves to make her own informed decisions about her marriage." She looked down at her hands. "You're right," she said after a long moment. "I'll do it today." I stood up. She stood too. We looked at each other across the small table. 6 years of history between us. 6 years of memories and inside jokes and shared dreams. All of it ending in a coffee shop on a Saturday afternoon. "I'm sorry," she said one more time. "Me too," I said. And I meant it. I was sorry for the fights we didn't have that might have saved us. Sorry for the conversations we avoided. Sorry for the distance we let grow between us until it became uncrossable. I walked out of the coffee shop and got in my car. Drove back to Tyler's apartment. This time I did cry. Not huge, racking sobs. Just quiet tears that ran down my face as I drove. Grief for what we'd had. Relief that it was over. Fear for what came next. Tyler was home when I arrived. He took one look at my face and pulled me into a hug. "It's done," I said. "I know," he said. "I'm sorry, man. We ordered pizza that night. watch bad movies. Didn't talk about it unless I wanted to, which I didn't. Not yet. The following week, I started apartment hunting. Found a small one-bedroom place across town. Clean. Affordable. A fresh start. I went to the old apartment the following Tuesday while she was at work, just like we'd agreed. Packed up my books, my clothes, my half of the kitchen supplies. I left the furniture, left the photos on the walls, left the life we'd built together. On the kitchen counter, I left a note. Just 2 words. Take care. I moved into my new place that weekend. Tyler helped me carry boxes up 3 flights of stairs. We set up my bed, assembled the cheap desk I'd bought from a furniture store, ordered Chinese food, and ate it sitting on the floor because I didn't have a table yet. How are you feeling? Tyler asked. I thought about it. Lighter, I said finally. Sad, but lighter. He nodded. That's a good sign. 2 weeks after the breakup, I got a message from an unknown number. I almost deleted it without reading, but something made me open it. It was from Rebecca Chun, David's wife. Thank you for encouraging her to tell me. I had no idea. I'm sorry for what my husband put you both through. I'm filing for divorce. I stared at the message for a long time, then typed back a simple response. I'm sorry you had to find out this way. I hope you find peace. She sent back a heart emoji. I deleted the conversation, blocked the number. Some things didn't need follow-up. A month after the breakup, I ran into one of our mutual friends at the grocery store. Kayla. She'd been her college roommate. Hey, she said, her voice careful. How are you doing? I'm okay, I said honestly. Getting there. I heard what happened, she said. I'm really sorry. Thanks, I said. How is she? Kayla hesitated. She's struggling, she admitted. But she's in therapy now, working through some stuff. I nodded. That's good. She should be. Are you in therapy? Kayla asked. I smiled slightly. Starting next week, actually. Good, Kayla said, and I could tell she meant it. You both deserve to heal. We said goodbye and went our separate ways. I checked out with my groceries and drove home to my small apartment. Cooked dinner for 1. Ate while watching a documentary about ocean conservation. Cleaned up. Went to bed early. It wasn't exciting. It wasn't dramatic. But it was mine. And that felt like enough. 3 months after the breakup, I went on my first date. Nothing serious. Just coffee with someone I'd met through a friend. Her name was Nicole. She was a veterinarian. She laughed easily and asked good questions and didn't seem interested in playing games. We didn't have a second date. The chemistry wasn't there, but it felt good to try, to put myself out there again, to remember that there was life after heartbreak. 6 months after the breakup, I got promoted at work. The same promotion I'd been so focused on that I'd let my relationship deteriorate. It felt hollow, but I accepted it anyway. Used the raise to upgrade my apartment to a nicer 1-bedroom with a balcony. Started taking cooking classes on Tuesday nights. Joined a gym. Made new friends. Built a new life. 1 year after the breakup, I saw her at a mutual friend's wedding. She was there with someone new. A tall guy with kind eyes and an easy smile. I was there alone. We made eye contact across the reception hall. She gave me a small, sad smile. I raised my glass slightly in acknowledgement. We didn't speak. Didn't need to. Some endings don't require words. Later that night, as I drove home from the wedding, I realized I wasn't sad anymore. I wasn't angry. I wasn't relieved. I just was. The relationship had happened. It had ended. I had survived. And now I was moving forward. Different. Changed. But whole. I pulled into my apartment complex and parked. Sat in my car for a moment, looking up at the stars through the windshield. Thought about the night she'd confessed. The way I'd stayed silent. The way that silence had given me power in a moment when I felt powerless. The way it had forced her to confront the weight of her choices. The way it had given me clarity. That silence had changed everything. Not because it was cruel, but because it was honest. It was the first honest moment we'd had in months. Maybe years. And from that honesty, we both found the courage to walk away from something that wasn't working. To stop pretending. To stop coasting. To start building lives that actually made us happy. I got out of the car and walked up to my apartment. Unlocked the door. Stepped into my space. My life. My future. And for the first time in a long time, I felt genuinely excited about what came next. The silence that had started everything had finally led to peace. And that was more than enough.